Hello, folks. My channel is The Bread of Anarchy. I'm a 40-year-old male and a stroke recovery patient from 2 years ago. I had a firearms accident. I'll get into the details in another video, where I had fired a bullet up my arm, and it came out my arm and into my neck, hitting my carotid artery. I had to have a stent from my leg taken to try to replace the carotid artery. The procedure failed and caused me to have a stroke in 2023. I was born in the USA. I've lived in the USA most of my life. I've also lived many years in Greece. Recently, in 2025, I've moved back to Greece for my recovery. And I'll be covering some of my exercises, some of my progress over the years, what you can expect from year 2 of recovery onward, because that's about where I am with my progress. I've been 2 years in rehabilitation through some clinics in the U.S., Texas Neuro Rehab being one, and Baylor's Scott and White Rehabilitation being another. I'm going to talk about mainly my recovery and progress at first from the stroke, and I'll show videos of my progression over time. But my channel is called The Bread of Anarchy for a reason. I'll be talking about philosophy and my philosophies and thoughts in future videos. But for now, I think it's a decent thing to leave people with some progress reports on what can be done to recover from a stroke. I'm not the most well kept at the moment. I'll try to be better presented for future videos. I will talk about, at this current point, I will say I'm experimenting with a different type of mind frame, and this is kind of like a point where this is the point where you're like in between your dream and awake state. And I think it's a good place to be, to have deep thoughts, and also in regards to recovery, it can potentially help. Now, I didn't just wake up. Even though it looks like it, I've been awake and been through my therapies today. I just decided today's a day to get started. Otherwise, I'm not going to get started. So here we are. And when you're in the state between sleep and awake, sometimes you can have some better control over your stroke arm. Maybe you might be able to have better control, I should say, over your stroke arm. You can potentially, you might be able to open your hand. That's where I'm at right now. My left hand, you can grip things. I can grip, but I can't just open it up so easily. And my left leg, I can walk, but it looks a bit clunky, and it's not so smooth. I'm blind in my right eye. The arm that I had shot way back, I probably have some nerve damage, but it's not really that bad to me. I could just 3 of my fingers feel a bit of a different sensation with pressure, and because the nerves are damaged. It'll probably heal up better in time, but these things definitely take time. A scar on my neck is where I was cut open, and the bullet hit right in my carotid artery. I'll give another video on explaining more of the details on that. I mean, it was definitely a near-death experience for me, and my memories of the event, I still have them, but definitely I had some distorted thinking at the moment of the event. The moment the event happened, I had shot myself. My memories were distorted of the time frame of the event and what happened. I am more clear on what happened now than I was back then. And I'll get into the details into the future. And I'll show more videos of myself exercising and the progress over time with my recovery, and what to expect at year 2 and beyond, or what you could expect, potentially. As you know, recovery is slower after the first 6 months of recovery. That's your fastest time frame to recover. It starts to slow down and then peak at a certain point, or plateau. It peaks after at about 6 months, and that's your peak, and then it kind of plateaus off. That's what I've heard from the medical professionals, doctors and therapists in the U.S. I've never really believed that. I've always wanted to believe I can make a full recovery. Perhaps I'm just living in denial. But I think it's a more positive mind frame to think that I can make a full recovery. And I prefer to keep in a positive mind frame for my recovery. You can do as you'd like with your own recovery. I just hope to make videos that help and inspire people to continue their recovery and make progress for themselves, and hopefully to inspire a different mind frame to have about their recoveries, and in general. Like I said, eventually I'll get into my philosophies and thoughts, but I'm not there yet. I do have some better range of motion than when I first started. I don't have spasticity. When I first started my recovery, well, my arm was really locked up. Like, it was just tight, and it was against me, like in this position, and I just couldn't move it. I was effectively paralyzed. I also didn't have a voice for a few months due to my vocal cords being damaged from the gunshot wound to my neck. I'm blessed that I have recovered, and I'm doing as well as I'm doing. The wound on my right arm, that healed up in maybe probably 4 months, 4 or 5 months or so. And my time frame is distorted from the incident, but that's how long it felt like it took for me to heal my right arm. And I was also able to start walking again, because I was in a wheelchair the first first several months into my recovery, and then they trained me to stand. Once I was able to stand and have some balance, it was taking some steps forward, and eventually those steps turned into more steps, and then I was effectively walking. And I had to have an AFO which is like it's a leg brace. I don't have it with me. Now that I'm in Europe, I have a different type of AFO on my leg. The type I have is for treating drop foot, because that's what I have. My foot kind of plops around a lot because tibialis anterior is not it's not as reliable as it used to be. It just doesn't, the muscles don't fire when I want them to. It's like, it's slower. I have to really think about moving my foot in order to get movement out of that muscle. But I am able to walk, and I can walk long distances. I think I've walked maybe my most I've walked is about 9.5 miles in a day, which is pretty good. And I've done it for several days in a row before, about 9 miles. At first, when I was starting to walk, I mean, it was really baby steps. It was if I could walk down a hall and walk in, like from one patient room to another, so maybe within 100 meters. And I would say even less than that. But eventually, with that, over time, I was able to walk longer distances, and then I started walking some in my neighborhood in the US, and I was able to start walking some miles. And after my AFO was causing me blisters at about the 3-mile marker, so I left it at that for the longest time. 3 miles is about the distance I would go. For now, well, I can walk further, but that's pretty important, being able to walk and being able to talk. And then as far as use for my left hand, left arm, I don't get that much use out of it. I can maybe carry like a bag of some sort. Like I could carry like a grocery bag. If the weight is maybe under 12 pounds. But, I mean, that's a little bit of use, and a little bit of use is better than no use. And then eventually, like, I started being able to open door handles if it's like a lever type of door handle. If it's a knob, I still can't turn knobs yet. With this hand, I'll make progress reports as we go on with the videos. They told me in therapy I need to be using this arm for my daily tasks as much as possible. Daily tasks, like, I don't want to risk like trying to hold a glass of water or any drink in this hand yet, because I know there's a great chance it will spill. But for carrying grocery bags and items that I don't mind dropping that won't like necessarily break, like it could be okay to use my left arm. But that's the progress of where I am at now. And I'll be sure to share. I've let this run for quite a long time now. I'll try to post more interesting videos, but for now, this is what I've got. It's the beginning, it's a start, maybe I'll repost and post a better version of my introduction than this. But for now, it's a good start, and I'll be talking about more interesting things into the future. Just bear with me. I'm not on a strict schedule right now, which is both a pro and a con. It's less stress, but at the same time, it gives me the ability to procrastinate. So I'll try to make videos in a more timely manner in the future, but for now, they're not necessarily going to be on a specific date. I'll just make them whenever I can. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching. God bless, and never give up on your progress, and trying to get back to normal. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.